Okay, we are live. Welcome everyone, and welcome Eric Fernandez. This is fun to be back at this at least one more time here in the short term. I wouldn't call it quite a wrap up of the FICS Symposium, but we certainly have some news we want to share, and including the one of the most important things is that the platform was extended. Access to the platform was extended till the end of June. So make sure if you haven't seen sessions or wanted to go back and review them or go back to see some of the highlights, please do so because that has been extended till I think June 30th. So for those that have not that I've not had the pleasure of meeting or talking to before, I'm Paul Timko with FICS from a marketing standpoint, but I also represent a couple of our partners, Stop Pain Clinical, and also my company, which is InReach Health. And InReach Health is one of the companies that helps me, work with people like Eric Fernandez and really learn from him and his team and all the great things that they're doing with their brand and their technology in chiropractic and certainly other areas as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. That's going to be the focus because we've had tons of questions about during the event, so going way back, but also since the event about Hyperice and the different technology, the different products that Eric and the Hyperice team have developed and continued to share, both from a marketing standpoint, but also an education standpoint. So we want to give some time to Eric to kind of answer some of those questions and make sure all of you know how to get involved with Hyperice and with Eric's team. So we'll definitely do that. We do have an announcement that Eric will make in a little bit. So we're going to make you guys wait to see who the grand prize winner is. So hang tight. This is not going to be a long session. So this will be about, 10 minutes, but we do want to make sure that we answer some of those questions about Hyperice during this session. One other quick announcement from me, the hands-on seminars. So this is good news. I know a lot of us are eager to get back out there. I know in certain areas that it may be a challenge, but we are, from a FICS standpoint, we're trying to start to get back to those hands-on seminars. So check the website, the FICS.sport website, and look at the schedule, and you'll start to see events show up in Australia, Paris. There's a growing list, so please check those out. It's exciting to get back to actually being around people and with people and being at in-person events again. So hopefully everybody across the world will be able to do that as soon as possible. So those are a few of the FICS announcements. And without further ado, Eric, I want to talk to you a little bit about Hyperice. First off, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, my man. I'm doing well. Always a pleasure. And we had so much team being part of the event and a couple of those panel discussions. And as you said, the feedback and questions were phenomenal. So if we couldn't all be at the symposium together, at least we were all able to collaborate and learn from each other, or at least I know I learned a lot from everybody else. So excited to recap or keep the conversation going.
Yep. So I give you a couple easy ones. I think they're easy. So I won't go back too far as what we talked about at some of the sessions during the symposium. But what I wanted to dig into is what are some of the things, especially over the last month and a half, that you've seen product-wise that people are gravitating to, that they want to hear more about, or they're getting great results with, that they might not necessarily think of when they think of Hyperice?
Yeah, that's a great one. And also before I actually answer you, I do want to call attention to one of the sessions, Dr. Jason Pajikowski, who's been a long-time FICS chiropractor out of Canada. He led one of the sessions during the symposium on the science behind percussion vibration, specifically as applies to utilizing it in a therapeutic or rehabilitative state. And I learned a tremendous amount. I think he did the most in-depth breakdown of the research and the way that percussion vibration impacts your physiology that I've ever seen. So I know that's on demand through the platform. So I'd encourage folks who are curious about the science piece to check that out. He did a really, really great job. And of course, if you have questions, we're always happy to chat. To your question, Paul, I think there's a couple things that are really interesting that have sort of really started to resurface. I think especially as doors are opening up, or in the case of our clinical partners, where most folks have been able to stay open during COVID, but have had the interactions limited. As restrictions are easing up, as people are sort of changing the way they interact with your clinic and your business, and they're starting to come back to some of their old ways. We're really seeing a lot of folks dive back into that idea of wanting to introduce recovery services or create a recovery service or an experience in clinic. So people are doing some really cool stuff, and that's something that I think we've had a lot of really positive feedback. Just even in the past couple of weeks, of as they reopen, that patients are really looking for these wellness services. Whether they're starting to train for marathons or other outdoor activities, or just want to feel normal and feel good again. And I actually happen to have two things up here that I'm going to see if I can figure out how to share my screen and share a couple images, because I just thought it'd be cool for everybody to see. One, these are just a few images of like different clinics that we work with in different parts of the world. And it can be, its own dedicated recovery space with recliners and technology. It can be out in the room, in the lobby, in the waiting room. These images shouldn't intimidate too. We work with a lot of folks who introduce cash-based recovery services, just using existing treatment tables, right, or an extra treatment room, or doing it right in the waiting room. So I think there's a lot of ways you can get creative with space, but it's been a really exciting thing, and something to hint at too. Not many people have seen this. This is something pretty new and exciting that we're designing, that we're starting to roll out to some of our partners. So this idea of a really premium experience where people can have access to recovery technology, either as an adjunct, as part of their visit, or just coming in and sort of dropping in and popping in. So being able to get in these recliners and utilize Normatec or a Hypervolt or a Venom back unit, have access to some education. So I think a lot of really cool stuff that we love to work with partners on in terms of designing or giving you access to some of these things, which you may not have seen if you just pop on our website. Here's a great recovery room. We've actually installed a number of these with partners, where you can see it's a combination of recliners and Normatec, access to Hypervolt, and even some mats where people can do more functional work or soft tissue mobilization. So just a few images to tease with, so to speak. But I think building on that, the other thing that we have seen folks really start to talk about, and we've seen a lot of people get really excited about, is continuing to innovate that patient experience. So, everyone's had the experience of going into an office and having to wait, whether it's a medical provider or otherwise, having to wait and reading an old magazine or, staring at your smartphone. What if we could make that an impactful part of the patient visit or journey? What if we could make it more engaging and leave them, with higher satisfaction? So, if they can be using a percussion massager as they're sitting there, if they can strap on a Venom back and get some heat and vibration therapy on, and from a preparatory standpoint, perhaps have them be a little bit more prepared for their visit. That's something pretty new and exciting. In a way, I think you can use technology that otherwise might have just been part of the patient visit and the actual therapy, but really maybe change the overall dynamic of how people interact with the clinic. So that's just one piece. I think really refocusing on what is the experience when people come to your door. Why are they coming to your door? Especially with that new light where people are willing to spend a little bit more time, perhaps.
Thanks for that, Eric. And one thing I want to reinforce is that, because you answered several of the questions that came up during the event and after, that I don't want it to get missed. That recovery room, that example, or recovery zone that Eric showed, that's a reality. That is something that's available, accessible to chiropractors. And his team is phenomenal as far as helping talk through that process of what works for your clinic, your patient demographic, your community. And it's certainly it's a benefit from an experience standpoint for your patients, but it can also have benefits from everything from like Google ratings to both your financial and clinical outcomes, increased visits, increased reasons to come back in. So I've always had an affinity for helping private practices, build their business both financially and clinically. And I'm thoroughly impressed with what Eric and his team have done to put together a complete solution to help chiropractors build their business and help their communities. And it kind of goes back to the overall mission of FICS and the Symposium, and it's that athlete's journey. And I can't think of a better way, a better experience to have the youth in a community get involved with chiropractic early and have that experience also, not only of chiropractic, but also of the technology that's available, not just to the world's elite athletes, but to everybody. And I love how things are coming together. And Eric, kudos to you and your team for bringing not only a solution to life, but also making it accessible to chiropractic.
Yeah, it's been really fun, Paul. And I think, what we're lucky is to learn and constantly innovate and adapt based off what we learn from different areas, right? So we started building recovery rooms over a decade ago for our pro sports teams, right? And now today we're building those same rooms or working to build similar solutions in chiropractic offices, in fitness facilities, massage, spa. I mean, really, no joke, planes, airports, malls. I mean, really, where people can get access, it's pretty exciting. Something that you said that popped into my mind, I always have this vivid image. My family chiropractor that I've been going to my entire life, he's had this poster on the wall in the bathroom. I don't know if that's TMI. And it's like that image of a road, and like half the road is like perfectly paved and half is like cracked and like, potholes. And it's that line, it's that adage, so to speak. Like, it's do you do the continued maintenance to maintain, or do you come back when your car is broken? That's not the right language, but I think it's expressive of what he's always said to me, and what so many FICS members have said to me, is we want our patients not to just come for an acute injury when we're in pain, but understand how we can positively impact their overall life and help them feeling and performing at their best, whatever that means, whether it's an Olympic level athlete, or whether it's, my grandmother or my daughter or wife, or whoever it may be. So I think, to bring that back to the conversation hand, recovery services and some of these technologies or adjunct therapies, which are really experiential and which can sort of bridge that gap between an acute injury and sort of just general wellness and consistency, can be a really great way to increase retention and start to change the way people think about your clinic or how they interact with it. And that's definitely some really positive feedback we consistently get from our partners.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I like the point about, you mentioned pro teams, and I remember actually I just started getting involved in athletic training. It was probably about 10 years ago, and I first started working with you on the Normatech side. And really at that time, not to say that chiropractic or private practice couldn't make the investment in having compression, percussion, vibration, but what you guys have done really well, and really I truly believe better than anyone else, is not only advance the technology, but make it more affordable and accessible to all. And that's really what is in that picture, is that it doesn't have to be a pro sports team to offer this technology and these services to their communities. And that's what this is really all about. So thank you for doing that. I know there's a lot of people involved, but Eric, you were there along the way, especially on the Normatech side, making that possible.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate it. And I think it's to give us a plug. I'll say that we always want to find custom solutions for your clinic, as you sort of said, Paul, and as you've seen us do with partners we've worked with together. And so I think that, there's a very low threshold these days for getting started with some of these therapies and services. And we always want to customize that option to you. And what we consistently see is very quick ROI. It's weeks, maybe a month. It's not months and years. And that's the ROI in addition to the outcomes when you're using it clinically, in addition to the satisfaction and retention. So I guess with that being said, I know this is just a short sort of pop-up, so to speak, but for anyone who's been thinking about reaching out or has questions, I'm just going to throw it out there, Paul. I think you were going to ask me, but anyone who wants to reach out, all you have to do is drop a quick email to rehab@hyperice.com, rehab@hyperice.com, and just reach out and identify yourself as a FICS provider and ask a question. And one of our team members who specializes in supporting sports chiropractic will get right back to you. And of course, if you're not, somehow you missed that, FICS is a great partner. And if you reach out to Trish or Meg or anyone or Paul, I know they'll direct you to us.
Perfect. You beat me to the punch, and thanks for letting everyone know. Please take him up on it, because it's a conversation. It's a conversation with his team, and they want to help in different ways. This isn't just about purchasing a product. This is about having a partner, and Hyperice has really stepped up in a big way earlier this year. Or, goes back several months to support FICS. And just remember all the partners. When you go to the FICS website, take time to just jot down and remember all those different brands and those partners that we have, those sponsors that really make all these things possible, and do your best to support them. So I know I appreciate it. I know Eric does as well, and all the partners appreciate when chiropractors are there to be part of their experience. So please reach out to Eric. And before I forget, Eric, why don't you go ahead and unveil the big winner for the event, or for the grand prize.
That's right. So I'm actually a little excited. I'm going to throw a curveball your way, Paul. So I have a winner, which I believe is going to flash on the screen at any moment. Really excited. We had a grand prize winner, and they're going to win a Hypersphere Mini, one of our vibrating massage balls, great for soft tissue, whether self-mobilization or otherwise, applying vibration to different areas of the body, upper extremity, really, really impactful. So we have a winner, and the winner was Dr. Keith Schaller. I got it right. Dr. Keith Schaller, Sports and Family Chiropractic LTD, actually in Vermont, just a little bit north of me. And we got so excited with the symposium and all the great feedback. I emailed Dr. Schaller today and I said, you know what, you want a Hypersphere Mini, but we're also going to send you a Hypervolt Bluetooth unit as well. So we upgraded that prize, and just super, super excited for all the feedback, the opportunity to support FICS, and to see our technology used in such an impactful environment where you can really positively change people's lives and help them feel better. So.
Well, awesome. That's awesome for Keith. So thank you, Eric, for the upgrade on the grand prize. It got even better. So it was worth the wait. And thank you again for all your support. And just a quick reminder to all, June 30th, get back into the platform, watch the sessions again, experience the events or the sessions that you missed, the hands-on seminars. So check the website for that, and make sure you're engaged and taking advantage of those, especially when they're in your region or your country. So I encourage everyone to keep going back to the website. And last but not least, please take that moment to look at our sponsors and partners and figure out ways to collaborate. This isn't just about purchasing. We want collaboration. We want feedback. We want to get better and better at what we do. And thanks again for the time and giving us the opportunity to be involved with FICS.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody.